Hey, this is Alex from Ninja Teacher, and today we're going to be looking at some different face masks that you can use when you're out here living in Vietnam. As you might have seen if you've watched some of our videos or if you've seen pictures of Vietnam, a lot of locals and expats wear these masks, especially when riding motorbikes around the city. So I'm going to get into a few different variants here and look at some of the pros and cons of them so that you can decide which one you might want to wear if you're out here in Vietnam. So to start off, let's talk about why you'd want to wear one of these masks. Well, it is for air pollution, and in my opinion, the actual air quality in Ho Chi Minh City, at least, is not that bad for the most part. I'm not bothered by it, except when I'm on the street. Now, the reason for that is there are so many motorbikes, so many trucks and buses. In fact, the buses are the worst. Really, they need to take care of that problem. There's so many bad exhaust fumes coming out of buses. But really, to me, that is the worst part of the air pollution. It's when you're actually driving along on a motorbike. If you're inside a taxi or a Grab car, which is like Uber, the app, and when you're inside a room like this, or even outside away from the street itself, I don't really find it that bad. So really, when it comes to riding a motorbike, whether you're actually driving it yourself or if you're a passenger on a motorbike taxi, which again, you can use the Grab app, or there's a new one called Go Viet. So when you're on these bikes, you're getting a lot of exhaust fumes coming at you, right? So basically, wearing one of these is going to protect you to a certain degree from that. And I think if you do wear a mask while you're in the streets driving or on the back of a motorbike, a mask will go a long way towards helping you really not be as exposed to these fumes. So obviously it's not the greatest part about living in Vietnam, having to wear a mask when you're driving around, but there are so many other benefits and positives about living here that we've covered on this channel a lot. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of this and then also see different ways that you can combat this. So let's start off with some of the masks, and I'll just start off with this one because this is a pretty popular one you see all over the place in Vietnam, worn by locals and expats. It's just basically a surgical mask. Really, it's quite thin. You know, it's not airtight at all. Wearing one of these is probably the worst solution, I would say, out of all of these. It is going to stop some of the fumes coming through, but what I find is that the air just comes in through the top and through the bottom instead of actually passing through this as much. So there is a little kind of bendy thing in here that wraps around your nose to keep it on more tightly and let less air in over the top, but still, I don't find it works all that well. So yeah, I mean, definitely better than nothing. There is another one that is very similar to this, which actually has activated carbon or activated charcoal in it, which absorbs I think it's the carbon monoxide and all those bad gases. So it actually sucks it in. And that is a lot better option. I've got one of those in my motorbike right now. That's what I'm using at the moment. And I found that to be pretty good. Again, the same problem, air can go in and out through the top and bottom. But because of that absorption, it actually does take a lot of the fumes out of the air in my experience. Okay, so next up we've got these AQBlue masks. So they're a company called AQBlue, and you can find them online. And these ones are pretty good because I find that they have a good combination of not being 100% airtight, not filtering everything completely, but being like a solid middle ground. So basically it's quite comfortable, it does fit on really nicely, but it is also not really filtering out all the harmful gases. Even on their website, they say it doesn't actually filter out the PM 2.5, I think it is, which is that pollution, the small granules of pollution. But I've found if I wear one of these, I really don't feel the exhaust fumes very much. So I like these a lot. I think these are the ones we'll probably give out to our students on our courses. And it's nice because they just easily hook around your ears and they're easy to put on and off. So then next up we've got just this plain material mask. Now, a lot of Vietnamese people use these. You can find them everywhere on the side of the street. You just find an old Vietnamese lady with her conical hat selling these, and you can buy one for like 10,000 or 20,000 dong, which is like $1 or $2. And these aren't that great because it has the same problems as the other ones. It lets air in over the top and bottom, and it doesn't have activated carbon in it. So yeah, not the best option, but I do find one of the nice things about this is when you breathe in, a lot of the air does seem to suck through the material, and it's going to actually stop a good amount of the exhaust fumes, I think. This is all just experiential, so it's definitely not scientific, but I've actually found wearing these not to be that bad, and they do an okay job, although probably not the best of the lot. Now next up, we've got these 3M masks, which a friend of mine actually bought about 200 for me from the US. I asked him to get them for me to give to our students, and yeah, they're okay, but there's some issues with it. The problem is these are for industrial work, and they do filter out the PM 2.5, I believe, which is the kind of pollution, but they don't filter out carbon monoxide, so basically exhaust fumes. So I've found with these, you don't feel like there's any dust and stuff getting into your mouth at all, but the exhaust fumes just go straight through it. So really, I don't find these that useful. They're kind of just sitting here in the office. It's also very uncomfortable because these straps are too tight, and this bendy thing over your nose here is metal, and it just kind of leaves these marks in your skin. Yeah, I guess there's a reason why they don't really use these here. I wouldn't really recommend them, so yeah. I mean, give it a try if you want, but they're not the cheapest anyway. Not my favorite of the lot. Then we've got this bad boy, which looks like a Bane Mask, but it's essentially a mask that does have the activated charcoal in it, and it is supposed to be kind of airtight. The problem with this one is I find it to be really uncomfortable, and again, it kind of like pushes into your nose with this metal here, and it kind of slips down at the back of your head because this straps around your head, but it just goes down towards your neck. So yeah, I really thought this was going to be a great option. I thought it was going to be the best one, but I ended up just not using it because it was so uncomfortable, and I didn't really feel like it fit very well, and it's got to fit and stay on, otherwise it's not going to do the job. But yeah, see, it kind of slips down. So those are some of the options. None of them are perfect, but they do help a lot when it comes to just making sure you don't get exposed to excess exhaust fumes, which in my opinion is the worst aspect of the air quality. So make sure to get yourself something. In my opinion, the winner would go to probably AQBlue because they're just all around a good option that you just kind of want to go back to using, and you just feel like they're doing a pretty good job. Otherwise, one of these ones that has the activated charcoal carbon, if you find these, you can get them at some pharmacies, and it does fit you well, then this might actually be a good option for you. I just found personally it didn't fit me that well. And then this, I would just kind of have one around in case you lose your other ones, and it's better than nothing. So in this one, you won't really find much in Vietnam anyway, and because it doesn't actually filter any of that carbon monoxide, I don't think this is a very good one. Okay, so that is my totally unscientific, opinion-based review of these masks. If any of you have recommendations for a good mask, leave them below. I really want to hear which kinds of masks you use and which one's the best. If you're yet to come out to Vietnam, hopefully this was helpful and you got some ideas about why you should use one and maybe which one you think would be a good option for you. Okay, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for more videos about life in Vietnam and teaching English out here, and I will speak to you soon. Peace.